founded in 1995. During its construction, excavation started, and under the dump, these huge boulders that are underneath us were exposed. They continue also behind you. The spring itself is on your right. Straight ahead, you can see two walls with the gap in between. That's where we sat inside. So we are outside the mountain, and all this needs to be reconstructed. So for that, we have the screen coming down and the display. This is the tower, the fortification tower we're standing on top of. Let's go into it. You can see the people arriving just like we came through the underground, filling their down with the pool nearby. And you know what they really want to do? Rest before the way back home. So everyone puts their jugs down, and there's a lot of gossip, a lot of talking. Everyone's talking about our King David that maybe wanted to build a temple but he's not allowed to. Who will take it? Who will be the next king? The answer, you know, is Solomon. But do you know he's child number 10 of King David? Not the oldest. And then move back. Opens up. And the water flows from the spring down below into the pool that you're just standing inside. Please notice the channel continues leftward, which means most of the water continues flowing down into the Kidron Valley, irrigating the nearby agricultural fields. Back to our story. The three oldest sons of David are not alive. Number 4, Adoniah is his name. He says, I should be the king, not my baby little brother. But if I crown myself in the palace, my father will stop me. So he crowns himself with nobles and ministers outside the city, down in the Kidron Valley. Bathsheba, Solomon's mother, runs to David and says, you promised me my son will be king, and here Adoniah taking over. Do something. So they take him down to the Gihon spring and crown him king. Here they shout, long live King Solomon! What happens when we shout down in the valley? We start with this window right here on this side. A window opening to the Kidron Valley with the agricultural lands, with the farmers, with the shepherds, with the followers of Adoniah. They hear the echo. Part of them come over and find out a teenager was just chosen as the new king. They laugh. Adoniah's in his 30s. He's much more experienced, much older. So everyone walks up to the city, gathering outside the palace and asks, why here? What's going on? Who's our new king? Can you please explain? In the beginning of the book of Kings, 1 Kings, chapter 1 to 3, we find out Solomon is identified as the brightest and wisest person around, accepted as the king. This is his Jerusalem. What do you see in front of you? The reconstruction of Solomon's Jerusalem. Beginning at the south, where the walls circulate the housing. Climbing up. Do you remember our large stone structure, maybe the palace area? Here's the reconstruction offered on that base. But Solomon enlarges the city up north, adding halls of administration, buildings of the governmental center, and more important, at the top of Mount Moriah, the first temple. But to say the truth, in Solomon's days, this was not the first temple. Because to call it the first, I need to have a second. This will be the only temple at the top of the city of Jerusalem. What I just did with you is a really cool presentation that takes 4.5 minutes. This thing that switches screens and so on. But nothing actually happens in it. If I wouldn't have said a word, it would have been the most boring thing happening in front of you. And then suddenly a screen opening to the right and one to the left, and you're not sure what's happening. And that's what happens to too many guys that arrive here. They press that green little button, and then they activate. But most of them don't know what to say. So they just stand here for 4.5 minutes, and nothing happens. The real problem is that the first 30 seconds, nothing happens. So they're sure it doesn't work, so they press it again and again and again until they ruin the whole system. So you press it, and the first thing that happens, the lights go slightly dim, and nothing happens for the next 30 seconds. And then the screen comes down and the whole system appears. When the person that made this presentation about 11 or 12 years ago thought what to do with it, he thought one thing, all the guys do something else. Actually, every guy does whatever they want here, but what I offered to show you is a story. Remember our 5-minute story. I'm standing in front of something and I'm telling its story however I want. I use the archaeological finds and the reconstruction to show you something and skip back and forth from that to what I want to present. Here, the crowning and anointing of King Solomon on top of the Gihon spring, because the spring is right down the stairs below to our right. So we're on top of the Gihon Spring, and the Gihon Spring is so important, not only as the water source, it's also the water company of modern-day Jerusalem that you might be paying your water bills to, because the name became the nickname for the water company also in the modern times. So this is one option what to do. The main thing you need to remember is that if you press and nothing happens, it's okay. It takes a while till something actually starts. There also usually is a worker sitting here and minding his own business, but he can also help out in turning on and so on. Not always does this thing fully work. I'm happy it is. Sometimes one of the projectors has some malfunction, but what we have here is the funnel. I'm going to turn it on again.